What's up, you guys? It's Sir Scrub here, bringing you some more Scrub Tier Yu-Gi-Oh! Before we get into today's video, please leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already, and let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Also, feel free to share this video with a friend. With all that's out of the way, let's get into today's video. Alright, so today we're going to be looking into Altergeist. Now, Altergeist is a solid Tier 1.5, Tier 2 deck right now, and is definitely a meta contender. You definitely do not want to sleep on this deck, and if you do not properly prepare for it, this deck will wreck your day. So as always, we're going to break this video down into 3 parts. The strengths of the Altergeist deck, how to beat it when going first, and how to survive when going second. With no other exposition needed, let's go ahead and jump both feet into defeating Altergeist. Alright, so this deck is one of the most powerful stun decks this game has ever seen. Not only does Altergeist run mostly trap cards, some builds playing up to 20 traps, but the archetype's inherent ability to plus off of those trap cards is rather unique within the span of Yu-Gi-Oh! Other stun decks like True Draco or plain old generic stun don't exactly plus off of activating their floodgates. While yes, they benefit from them, or rather don't get hindered by them, Altergeist Multi-Faker allows this deck to not only get a +1 by simply activating a trap card, it specifically allows you to tutor any of your Altergeist monsters straight from the deck. And the monster you'll be snagging the majority of the time with Multi-Faker is going to be Altergeist Silquidius. Silquidius allows you to bounce any Altergeist card you control to the hand to bounce any card your opponent controls. And the cherry on top of it all is that bounce effect is a quick effect, meaning you can flip a floodgate during your opponent's turn, vomit Multi-Faker onto the field, and then grab Silquidius from the deck for more disruption. But self-bouncing can't be abusable, right? Well, instead of answering that, let's talk about another card Silquidius can abuse, and that would be Altergeist Manifestation. Manifestation is basically a Call of the Haunted for the archetype, and thus you can bounce it with Silquidius, which will then be destroyed, allowing you to add any of your Altergeist traps in your grave back to your hand, giving the deck some wonderful recovery, considering you can cycle all of this. Oh, and don't forget, every time you activate Manifestation, you're reviving non-destruction removal and re-enabling a +1 off of Multi-Faker. So this deck has an amazing grind game. It's almost like it was designed to be that way. But that's the overall win con of this deck when it works right. Flip floodgates, grind the duel out until you win. What I've outlined is just the most basic interaction, but I think you get the gist of it. So now that we've outlined the deck's strength, let's go ahead and start bringing it down. So just like always, we'll do the easy part first, how to beat the deck when you get to go first. There are quite a bit of cards that can help you disrupt the Altergeist deck, my favorite of which is Royal Degree. Using this card to simply turn off all trap cards can basically shut the deck down. This shuts down all the manifestation shenanigans, can keep you from losing to floodgates like Rivalry and stuff like that. Also, for all you Pendulum players out there, you can also just stick in a copy of Jinzo in your side deck and do the same thing. Also, a couple of copies of Twin Twister to rip out some of their back row preemptively is a great way to shut this deck down, similar to True Draco's stun. Back row removal and specific floodgates can leverage the deck in your favor. Another powerful tool against this deck is Gozen Match, provided you can play it. All of the Altergeist monsters are different attributes, thus you can hinder their ability to grind and plus. Finally, if your deck has the capability to run it, Macrocosmos does a good job of shutting down this deck's shenanigans with Manifestation. Another good couple of floodgates to consider are Mind Drain and Soul Drain to help combat the graveyard shenanigans and Multi-Faker's hand effect. I would highly recommend these two specifically because they also have the flexibility of hurting a Thunder Dragon matchup. Finally, the last card I want to bring up is Super Poly. When an Altergeist player gets 2 Multi-Fakers on board, you can use Super Poly to tribute them off to give yourself a Starving Venom Fusion Dragon, and Super Poly being quote-unquote spell speed 4 makes it to where the Altergeist player can't use their trap cards in response to it. But that's all I've got going first. Let's go ahead and move into going second. So this deck is surprisingly weak to several cards when you go second. Firstly, you can drop Ghost Ogre on their search card, Personal Spoofing, because it's a continuous trap card to basically negate it. Not to mention, you can also drop Ash Blossom on Multi-Faker, stopping the deck's ability to +1. Also, another great card against this deck is Denko Sekka. Just shutting down their back row instantly can be a power play. All you have to do is normal summon Denko Sekka, and they can't flip any more of their trap cards. Though, like I've said previously with other stun decks, they can flip their most important cards during the draw or standby phase. Finally, the elephants in the room, evenly matched in Red Reboot. Now, evenly matched is the strongest board wipe this game has ever seen, and is an extremely flexible card. The ability to banish all of your opponent's cards face down is extremely difficult for most decks to recover from, and is a great way to get rid of all of their floodgates and trap cards without triggering any extra effects. Red Reboot, on the other hand, is a very interesting case. With this card, I would only suggest using it if your deck is capable of consistently pulling off an OTK, so Dino players rejoice. This card can single-handedly turn off their trap cards for the turn straight from the hand. Now, it does give them another trap card, so if you can't establish the OTK, you probably just want to scoop it up. But considering it makes it to where they basically can't play Yu-Gi-Oh! For the turn, giving you the chance to just wreck their day, if you can establish that OTK, this is definitely the way to go. And the very last card I want to talk about that I think isn't brought up enough is Topologic Trispania. This card's ability to feather duster away all of the traps they've got waiting on you can be a game changer. However, being a link monster gives them plenty of time to respond and get their deck rolling, so it may be a little difficult to establish Trispania and get a monster on board to trigger its effect. That's all I've got for this one, you guys. Please leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already, and let me know what you think down in the comment section below, and please feel free to share this video with a friend. But most importantly, don't forget, be a scrub.